Adventures in Paradise Part 2 is one of the most hilarious Frasier episodes. I absolutely adore this one. And as a Cheers fan, there are a few things in this that I think are particularly special. This is the ninth episode of the second season of Frasier, directed by the wonderful James Burrows, and there will be spoilers from this point on as I go into a few things, quite a few things that I absolutely adored. Obviously, this picks up where the previous episode left off, where Frasier and Madeline are in Bora Bora, and we learn that Lilith is staying there as well. And Frasier is obviously very confused about how to respond to this. And basically, what he decides to do is, well, have sex with the air, essentially. He has a really great time on the bed on his own, and it is one of the most just hilarious things ever. And what I found particularly interesting is that Lilith's on the other side. Lilith's not on that wall based on when he went outside and she was on the left hand side of the screen, but the bed's on the right hand side. So I'm not entirely sure what he was expecting to happen because that's not the adjoining wall. But that aside, I found it to be very, very entertaining, and just the look on everyone's face when they all approached at the same time and he's just having a great time thrashing about with the four-poster bed. Very, very well done. Kelsey Grammer gave an amazing performance as well as is always the case. Another bit that I absolutely adored is Eddie. And Eddie getting in the way of Frasier and Madeline having a good time. And one of my favourite bits is actually when Frasier picks up Eddie and just walks away with him. It's just the look of Eddie just sitting there, or I guess hanging there, was just absolutely adorable. I love Eddie, I love Jack Russell's, and it's just so cute. And it's not very often we see Frasier physically touching Eddie, so it's something that's a little bit different, and I rather enjoyed it. And of course, we have Lilith coming back into Frasier's apartment. This the scene with the mango stick. Lilith knew exactly what she was doing when she sat in Martin's chair and stuck the mango stick in the air. And just Frasier's, I just love everybody's reaction to Lilith. Frasier, of course, in Bora Bora, and then his reaction with the mango stick, and then when Martin and Daphne and Niles came in and saw her, and Martin's reaction particularly, I thought was just absolutely wonderful. It was nice to see Lilith smiling. She did smile a few times, which is nice. I love Lilith so much. I think Bebe Neuwirth has done such an amazing job with this character, and it was nice to see her and Frasier hugging. That was just so lovely. I don't know if I mentioned this in the previous episode, but this is my first time watching Frasier after having seen Cheers. I've seen Frasier all of the way through before, but I then watched Cheers after the fact, and I'm now rewatching Frasier. I'm also rewatching Cheers. So it's a very different experience now that I have the whole history with Frasier and Lilith, and I love Lilith. I can't imagine I felt that when I first saw this episode. So it's a little bit special and a little bit different, and I just absolutely adore her in this. The idea of her getting remarried is fine, it's well and good. It's not one of those relationships where I wished she'd get back with Frasier. That's not something that I ever clung on to. Back in the day, yeah, well, I say back in the day, when I was watching Cheers, even though I knew ultimately what happened, I did feel sad whenever their relationship was going through a difficult time. But certainly with Frasier, it's not something I ever kind of longed for, and I still don't. We also have a couple of other Cheers things in this. Lilith mentions Sam Malone, which is very exciting, and more excitingly, Shelley Long makes the world's quickest appearance. She's in it for about zero point 0.3 seconds, but to have Diane in it, even briefly, it just made me smile. I really rather enjoyed it. So the Cheers fan in me is very happy. Again, that's something else that would have meant nothing to me the first time I watched Frasier. I don't remember how I felt about it, but I guess that's because it didn't mean anything to me. You know, who's Diane? What's the relationship? I didn't really have that much background. Of course, now I prefer Cheers to Frasier. It's just the case, and it means a lot to have even just mentions of Cheers and Boston in Frasier, and this is a beautiful episode for it. It's very, very funny. Lilith's dry wit, I adore. Frasier's physical comedy with, well, his fun time on the bed and the way he responds to Lilith, I absolutely adore. Martin with his shock reaction, Niles's fake pleasantries to Lilith, Daphne's face of confusion, little Eddie just being Eddie. I absolutely love him. Needless to say, this is one of my favorite all time favorite episodes from start to finish. It is hilarious. It is baked with cheers, and I absolutely adore it.